Let's talk about the medicines that are used to treat autoimmune disease. You hear about them on the TV all the time. Things for plaque psoriasis, things for moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now, these are biologics, and what they do is they suppress the immune system. But here's the problem. You don't need your immune system suppressed. You need your immune system balanced. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So you have a God-given immune system to fight viruses, bacteria, and cancer, to protect your body, not to build antibodies and start attacking itself. And that's what autoimmune disease is. It's not normal, should not be accepted. You don't need something that just suppresses your immune system. You see, your immune system is like a teeter-totter. So my pen right here is a balanced teeter-totter. On this side of the teeter-totter, we have what we call cell-mediated immunity, which is the part of your immune system that fights intracellular bacteria, viruses, and cancer. And then on this side, we have antibody-mediated immunity, which builds antibodies to other types of infections like strep throat. And we want it balanced because a balanced immune system has enough of an immune system to fight viruses, intracellular bacteria, and cancer, but not so much that it starts attacking body parts with antibodies. So if you have things that suppress the cell-mediated immunity and you have an unbalanced teeter-totter, now what you have is you have low cell-mediated immunity, which means you're at risk for cancer and tuberculosis and other stealth infections like Epstein-Barr virus or CMV or reactivated Lyme disease that's hard to treat or long COVID. So these are suppressed immune system for the cell-mediated immunity. But then look what happens over here. Now you have high antibody-mediated immunity. And when your high antibody-mediated immunity keeps going, now you're building antibodies against yourself. And that's autoimmunity. And it starts out as a positive ANA, which is anti-nuclear antibodies. Antibodies against your DNA. Big red flag. Okay. Back to the teeter-totter. Let's say I'm a traditionally minded doctor. Thank God I'm not anymore. I think that I want to find the root cause of illness and not just suppress or raise. I want to balance. But you go to your doctor and you have autoimmune disease. You have high antibody-mediated immunity. And that doctor wants to ease your symptoms because he or she cares. But they don't have all the tools. All they know how to do is suppress your immune system. So what do? They put you on something that suppresses the whole thing. And now your symptoms of the autoimmune disease goes away. Your gut is better if you have Crohn's disease. Maybe your bloody diarrhea is better. If you have plaque psoriasis, the plaques go away and you feel good. Okay? But you've taken an already low cell-mediated immunity and you've suppressed it further. So when you hear those commercials and they talk about the side effects, right? Oh, yes, your plaque psoriasis is better, your Crohn's disease is better, but guess what? You're at risk for tuberculosis and cancer because you've suppressed your cell-mediated immune system and it was already unbalanced. So you didn't need that suppressed. What you needed it balanced. So now let's talk about those drugs that treat cancer. Biologics, you hear about them on the TV. Opdiva, things for small cell lung cancer. If you have cancer, and especially if it's advanced, you're looking for things that can help you. So if you have cancer, you already have a low cell-mediated immunity because otherwise your immune system would have recognized the cancer and it never would have developed. So your teeter-totter is like this. Your immune system is not balanced. Well, what do? Well, they want to treat your cancer, so they want to raise this. Well, instead of balancing it to raise it, they raise the whole thing. And so what are the side effects of those cancer drugs? Autoimmunity. See, because you're not balancing, you're raising or lowering. And you don't have to do that. I mean, I feel for you if that's going on. You need something. You need to do something. And maybe by the time you have cancer, things are so far gone that just balancing it isn't enough anymore. But you should at least try. So what do we do to balance the immune system? What affects how easy something is to balance? One of the things is how big the fulcrum is, right? If you have a tiny little, and you're just trying to balance it on your hand, it's not as easy to balance the pen. But if I have a big platform to balance it on, it's much more stable. So what is that fulcrum around your immune system? Vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, nutrition. So the more we can optimize those micronutrients, instead of having one little thing that we're trying to balance that immune system teeter on, it's much easier if you have a bigger platform. Build the platform. And then we need to look at what is suppressing the immune system. Toxins, poor nutrition, super high stress and trauma, because those things put you in the fight or flight mode. And when you're in the fight or flight mode, your body can't heal well. So it doesn't take much in order to develop disease if you can't heal. Look, you either get sick because of a major, whopping, huge exposure, or you get sick because of a lot of little exposures that pile up and you can never heal. God made us to be resilient and heal. But if we're living in the fight or flight mode 24/7, we're not healing. If we're not sleeping, we're not healing. If we're not nourishing our bodies with food, then we're missing some of those things that make it easy to balance the teeter-totter. And for sure, if we're eating toxins in our food, then that's one of the things that causes the imbalance. So when I say toxins suppress the cell-mediated immunity and they lead to this imbalance in your immune system that leads to the high antibody-mediated immunity, this is my bag right here. That's what I love to treat because I believe it's treatable. If we balance the immune system, optimize the micronutrients, get rid of the things that are pushing the cell-mediated immunity down, clean up our diet, get rid of the environmental toxins that we're able to, create a margin of resiliency, learn how to reduce our stress. These things are possible, and that's what creates a balanced immune system. And if you have a balanced immune system, then your immune system is functioning like God designed it, fighting intracellular bacteria, viruses, and cancer, but recognizing that self is self and not attacking self with antibodies. And that's how it's supposed to work.